Namaskar. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know what time is there at your end. But today we will talk about a very interesting statement which the head of JP Morgan Chase, which is one of the biggest organization in the world, from revenue and capitalization perspective, it is in top 20 across the globe. Their revenue is around $250 billion. And you would be surprised to know that Pakistan's revenue or Pakistan's GDP for 2022 in real GDP terms was wherein when we say real GDP, it is inflation adjusted and everything, then it becomes less than $300 billion, short of $300 billion, 298. So it is not much of a difference from the size perspective and all. Now, the same head of company who is running JP Morgan Chase, his name is Timon, or you can call it Diamond. I don't know what is the right pronunciation, but he has said, I'm just quoting it from news articles, that the government of India, Narendra Modi government, has done a great and fabulous job in India. I know the liberal press here, they beat the hell out of him. So he is quoting liberal press in USA. So he's saying, I know that liberal press, they beat the hell out of him. He's taken 400 million people out of poverty. Now, when a head of state like JP Morgan Chase is talking something like that, it simply means that he has some data because it's a bank and they don't talk anything like just in the air. And he's quoting that around 4 crore people, 40 crore people in India have been taken out of the poverty, which is a huge number. You consider 140 billion, 140, 1,400 million people. And out of 1,400 million people, taking out 400 million people from the poverty, out of poverty, which means it doesn't mean that still there are like 1,000 million people in the poverty or 1 billion people, because these are the people who were still poor at the time Mr. Modi started his tenure as prime minister. So Timon further highlights that PM Modi efforts in poverty. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. Efforts in poverty alleviation, infrastructure development, and bureaucratic reforms, emphasizing the remarkable progress India has made under his leadership. So he's not just praising that, yeah, he has taken out so many people out of poverty, but he's also mentioning that his efforts in infrastructure development, in terms of providing them, toilets, in terms of providing roads, in terms of providing railway infrastructure, in terms of providing water infrastructure, and everything is commendable. So that's what he's talking about. And then he also expressed, his surprise, his astonishment is what they are writing, to the fact that at certain foreign governments like USA, UK, Germany, France, and all these Western so-called developed liberals, they frequently criticize PM Modi on topics such as climate change and labor rights, despite the existence of millions in India lacking access to fundamental necessities like toilets. See, this is some kind of, I would say, um, not coming as a surprise to me, because if I go to a poor guy, for example, who's begging for food, and I tell him, hey, you should take care of your neighbors, you should think about how the world will be in next 20 years, plant more trees and do good to the humanity. He will say, what the hell, man, I don't have food to eat and you're talking all this nonsense to me. This doesn't make sense to me. So that's what he's pointing out. He's saying, buddy, You are talking about climate change, you're talking about labor laws, labor rights, and all those things to India, and you're lecturing them. But what you don't realize that India is still was still a poor country when Mr. Modi started as a prime minister, and we are still a poor country when we look at individuals, right? And then you come and preach us about climate change and all those things about clean air and everything, but you don't provide us the solution for that. You don't provide a solution for what we are facing right now. I mean, we have people who are still dying to because of shortage of food, and you are talking about climate change. That's a real nonsensical thing to do. He further says, it is preaching about climate labor and so and so. He has 400 million people without toilets, yet we have telling him how to do things, Timon said. So he's saying that you're talking about all these things, but they did not have basic amenities by that time. It further says they have opened bank accounts for 700 million people and that payments are being processed smoothly. He's talking about basically the bank accounts which uh, Modi government opened as soon as they started. Their education system and infrastructure are remarkable, lifting the entire country because of one just and tough man. So one just and tough man means like one very honest and strong leader. And he is of course talking about Modi. But to break down bureaucracy, you have to be tough, and he's just doing that. So I mean, basically, he's praising Modi again and again. Um, they have, I think, I mean, he's quoting that okay, fine, they have like more than 29 states, and in a way, it is like Europe because Europe is also like a lot of states, and then each country has its own um, culture and demands and local sentiments. You find something like that in India, despite of the fact that we are all coming from the same culture. We do have some local issues which we talk about and so on. So he's saying that it's there is some similarity in that sense with Europe, and yeah, so that's a strong leader in a company like JP Morgan Chase who's talking about our Prime Minister Modi, and that's something which the media also in the West should understand and appreciate the fact that it is not easy to run a government of 1.4 billion people and at the same time take care of the sensitivities of so many people together. So in the last um, elections, India won. In India, NDA won, which is led by Mr. Modi, 352 seats. And this time they are aiming to cross 400 seats. So, what do you think? The realities like these, will it help Modi achieve what he is looking for, what he is aiming for? Or will they fall short of it? And if they fall much short of it, then they are not forming the government. But what is your view? What do you think he will be able to achieve with NDA going forward? Elections are on. Do vote, and please also let me know what is your view on Modi achieving 400 plus target. Thank you so much. Namaskar.